This is News 3 Now at 5.
We, the jury, in the above entitled matter as to count 1, unintentional second-degree murder while committing a felony, find the defendant guilty.
It took 12 people about 10 hours to reach a guilty verdict on all 3 counts against former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin. Chauvin killed George Floyd last Memorial Day when he knelt on his neck for more than 9 minutes.
The jury reviewed 3 weeks of testimony from 45 witnesses in one of the most closely watched murder trials in American history. The jury found Chauvin guilty on 3 charges: unintentional second-degree murder, third-degree murder, and second-degree manslaughter. Chauvin will be sentenced in 8 weeks. He faces a maximum of up to 40 years in prison. This is a live look tonight from Minneapolis, where crowds have been celebrating outside the Hennepin County Courthouse, just a few miles away from the scene where George Floyd was killed last Memorial Day.
Local leaders closer to home are responding to the verdict.
Our Gabriella Becerra is live in downtown Madison with what Madison Police Chief Sean Barnes is saying. Gabby?
Eric and Susan, Madison Police Chief Sean Barnes was among the many community leaders that gathered to watch this trial come to a close today. I asked him what was going through his mind as the judge read the jury's 3 guilty verdicts, and he says he's relieved, but also he acknowledges, both as a black man and a police chief, that there's still a lot of work that needs to be done.
I was a little disappointed, and I'll tell you why. Because we all were waiting with bated breath for a decision that should not have been a surprise. And I think that when we get to a point where justice is so apparent to everyone that we're not surprised, we're showing real progress. Obviously,
Chief Barnes says these verdicts will not change the way that they handle future demonstrations and protests that may happen today. He says they'll continue to protect both protesters and the First Amendment. And now Jamie Perez joins us to explain what the emotion was like in that room as the verdict was read.
Right, so there were lots of head nods, tears, and sighs of relief as some local community leaders watched and listened closely as this verdict was read. Now, you have to remember that many of these community leaders work very closely with communities of colors here in Madison. And we spoke with Renee Moe with the United Way of Dane County, who said this verdict takes a lot of weight off their shoulders that's been weighing heavily on many people over the last year.
Well, locally, it means tonight just got a lot easier because we don't have the frustration of seeing Black lives being taken away and no justice. So I think from the perspective of all of us who saw with our own eyes what that meant for local communities of color, it means that people are being heard. It means that we understand that there are disproportionate impacts for communities of color. And it means that all of us can now see with our eyes unveiled the work that needs to get done, and we can do that together.
And the CEO of the Boys and Girls Club, Michael Johnson, also joined Renee in that room. He was very emotional, had to gather himself before he could speak to us, but I will share his reaction to this coming up tonight at 6. And since that verdict was reached, we have actually heard lots of cars honking and people cheering out of their cars, just driving throughout downtown, celebrating the outcome of this verdict.
Jamie Perez and Gabriella Becerra downtown, thank you. Even before we found out there would be a verdict today, a group planned a rally to call for justice to be served.
As is often the case with protests here in Madison, the Capitol Square is the backdrop, and that's where we find our Madeline O'Neill. Maddie, what's the mood like down there?
Well, right, we're here at the top of State Street where we spent a lot of time last May, early June, after the death of George Floyd, with so many people calling for justice. Tonight, obviously not quite as busy, but there is a 420 event that's been going on here. And since those verdicts came, we've seen people come here with signs, one that says honk for justice, and that is just what we are seeing. A lot of this usual traffic is coming through honking for this. We also have some speakers. When the verdicts came through, we heard some celebration saying guilty, guilty, guilty. And, you know, we have seen, or one person came up and was speaking about how the fight isn't over yet. So obviously this decision is something a year in the making, and we'll be out here tonight keeping track of what happens here on Capitol Square.
Maddie O'Neill live downtown. Maddie, thank you. And as she mentioned from that onlooker, this case will not disappear now. In fact, far from it.
Our Naomi Coles watched the verdict come in live with a Madison area defense attorney. Naomi, what did he have to say about the verdict?
While we were waiting for that verdict, he was telling me, and that's Madison area defense attorney Chris Van Wagner, he said that it's likely the jury took a vote right before they started deliberating just so they knew where everybody stood. Because 10 hours is not a lot of time for a case like this. Van Wagner says that points to widespread agreement from the jurors. He believes that many criminal defense attorneys are a bit surprised that they didn't struggle more with the case.
What do we think? All three guilty?
Well, the jury didn't mince words, apparently, in the jury room. Their 10 hours of deliberation obviously focused right in, and they decided that there was evidence on all three counts. All three verdicts will be challenged, both in post-conviction motions and appeal, and one or two of them may be considered to merge into the others, perhaps. But as a bottom line, to the jury, this was a clear-cut case. The evidence was not much in dispute from their perspective.
Now, he says there's no doubt the historical significance of this vote weighed heavily on each juror and could have played a part in their decision. Now, later at 6 o'clock, I'll explain why he says there is still more to come in this case.
Naomi, thank you. And in response to the trial for Derek Chauvin and the death of George Floyd, newly appointed Dane County Sheriff Calvin Barrett is explaining the county and state's use of force policy.
Using a knee to someone's throat or trying to restrict their blood, their breathing is considered deadly force in the state of Wisconsin. Deadly force. So we would have to be facing intentional use of a firearm or other instrument, the use of which would result in a high probability of death, or to justify deadly force, behavior which has caused or imminently threatens to cause death or great bodily harm to you or another person. It is very clear in that video, and it is very clear in the trial that that was not there. So that would not be considered reasonable, it would not be considered justified, nor would it be considered a proportional use of force from the get-go.
Sheriff Barrett made those comments. That was during the Speaker's Task Force on Racial Disparities that focused on law enforcement policy and standards. Sheriff Barrett says deputies use the disturbance resolution model and defense and arrest tactics, among other things, when making arrests. This verdict has far-reaching implications. Our crews are still gathering coverage, and we'll hear from community leaders on News 3 Now at 6 next hour, right after the CBS Evening News, which will be live from Minneapolis, where the crowds continue to celebrate. You can continue to watch that coverage live right now at channel3000.com.
Spring is here, but it sure didn't feel like it today. We saw some snow flurries earlier today in Madison. Are we going to see any spring-like weather anytime soon? Let's get a first check on the forecast with Gary Canalti on the weather patio. Gary?
Well, Susan, first thing we have to do is get some sunshine in here, and that probably won't happen at least very much for tomorrow. But Thursday will be a different story. You can see a visible cloud track again. We're socked in underneath the clouds. But if you watch the loop of the satellite, you start out with generally partly cloudy skies or even clear skies in some spots this morning, and then the clouds kind of build up as the day goes along. So we'll probably see those clouds break up somewhat tonight, and that could allow temperatures to drop into the mid to upper 20s. On Doppler track, you can see a large area of light snow across parts of Illinois and Indiana, but that's staying to our south. We just have a few flurries or a few sprinkles that are really hard to even be detected on even high-resolution Doppler radar. So right now, not looking at anything that will certainly stick to the ground. Low temperatures this morning, as we cleared out, temperatures dropped into the upper 20s, the lower 30s. Janesville dropped to 32, Madison 29. Temperatures are in the mid-20s to our north and west, but current temperature is about as warm as they've been all day, and that's not very warm. Only lower to middle 40s across southern Wisconsin. By tomorrow morning, we'll drop back into the upper 20s. The skies turn partly cloudy. Tomorrow, just a slight chance for a shower in the afternoon or evening. High temperature at 45, but more sunshine on Thursday should bring temperatures back up into the middle 50s. I'll have more details on weather in a few minutes.
Gary, thank you. More to come on News 3 Now at 5. We will be going back to get the latest from Minnesota after the guilty verdict for Derek Chauvin today. That's still ahead at 5. And coming up tonight at 6, it is allergy season, but many of those symptoms are the same as COVID symptoms. What health officials are saying when it comes to telling the difference. That's next hour on News 3 Now at 6. And on Wall Street, the market's seeing red in Tuesday trading. The Dow off some 256 points. The Nasdaq falling 128.5. S&P down 28. We'll be right back.
Tonight on CBS, it's a night of suspense, beginning with NCIS, followed by FBI and FBI Most Wanted. Then get a complete wrap-up of the day's news on News 3 Now at 10.
It's Slumberland's Build Your Room sale. Look what you can get for only $20, $30, $40 a month. Some options for your living room, just $20 a month when you spend $1,200 and pay no interest for 5 years.
Well, hello, Slumberland.
Chevy is America's fastest growing full-line brand, and people are taking it everywhere. Taking Trailblazer outdoors, confidently taking on new places with Equinox and taking on more with Silverado. Whatever you do, there's a perfect Chevy to take you anywhere. Find your perfect Chevy and get up to 17% of MSRP cash back on select 2021 models. That's over $5,400 cash back on this Equinox. Find new roads at your local Chevy dealer.
If your credit card debt is out of control, if you're in over your head in monthly payments, there's a secret the credit card companies don't want you to know. If you have more than $10,000 in credit card debt, you have the right to let us settle that debt for a fraction of what you owe. That's bad news for the credit card companies, but it's great news for you. We're Credit Associates, and we're offering you free information on how to completely resolve your credit card debt with a monthly payment you can afford. To see how much you could save, call now. 1-800-905-1069. Don't declare bankruptcy. Don't consolidate. Give us 10 minutes and we could save you thousands. After all, we depend on your success and offer a guarantee so there's no risk to call. Credit Associates. Live better, debt-free. Find out how easy it is by calling now. For the secret the credit card companies don't want you to know, call Credit Associates now and see how much money you could save for free. Call 1-800-905-1069.
When you're sick, so sick that your heart hurts.
And your mind races.
When you think that you might have cancer, and then they tell you,
you have cancer.
And you just want somebody to say,
it's going to be okay.
UW Health. Remarkable medicine. Remarkable care.
Oh, my back.
Hey, Dylan, need a mattress? Look what you can get at Slumberland for just $20, $30, $40 a month.
I love choices.
And you'll pay no interest for 5 years. The huge Sealy sale at Slumberland Furniture.
Tonight at 6, reaction from Madison residents as a verdict is reached in the Derek Chauvin murder trial. And COVID-19 and seasonal allergies share similar signs and symptoms. Why health officials say getting a COVID test is especially important for children at 6.
I'm News 3 Now's Josh Spreiter. I'm visiting the people, places, and events that make this area one of a kind. Tell me what inspires you, and it might be featured on News 3 Now this morning.
In the 608, weekdays on News 3 Now this morning. You're watching News 3 Now at 5.
Welcome back, everyone. Here is another live look from Minneapolis following a guilty verdict for Derek Chauvin, the officer convicted of manslaughter in the death of George Floyd. Right now, the Reverend Al Sharpton is talking, and George Floyd's family members will also speak coming up soon about the guilty verdict. As soon as this is Ben Crump, who was the attorney for the Floyd family. We're continuing to bring you the latest from Minnesota and how local leaders are reacting in Madison in our later newscasts and on channel3000.com.
Next at 5, children have been fairly low risk when it comes to COVID-19, but Wisconsin is now seeing more cases in kids than any other age group.
Yes, more students are back in the classroom, but some local doctors think it's students gathering away from those buildings that's leading to the rise. Amanda Quintana found out what you need to do to protect kids who can't be vaccinated yet. Amanda?
In Michigan, more kids are being hospitalized. In Minnesota, hundreds of schools are reporting cases of the variant. And here in Wisconsin, we're seeing a 56% increase in child COVID cases, showing that we need to do something now to make sure that there's not more spread.
There's actually probably two things going on. There's the variant, and then there's increase in spread.
Not only does the UK variant infect children's bodies faster, but it's spreading even quicker because COVID precautions are being relaxed.
People are really getting fatigued with masking, with hand hygiene, with social distancing.
Infectious disease specialist Dr. Gregory DeMurray says the problem isn't inside school buildings. Schools are doing a great job of distancing and wearing masks.
I think where things have become lax has been with sporting events, and there have been a number of outbreaks and a lot of cases that we're seeing that have been associated with with sports and other youth activities.
Dane County has seen a big increase in COVID cases in kids 8 to 17 over the past 4 weeks. With an outbreak at a daycare earlier this month, there have been nearly 470 potential outbreaks in educational settings across the state. An MMSD spokesman told us the district has no plans to change their staggered reopening because none of these happened in its buildings. Even though the spreading is happening mostly after school, Dr. DeMurray says schools need to speak up.
The message we need to send, that school districts need to send, is that masks are mandatory. And they're mandatory for sports participation. They're mandatory in any kind of social setting.
But the WIAA isn't convinced the virus is spreading during games.
You don't show up on the field and get COVID. It doesn't pop up on the field. It's got to be brought to the field. So where did they get it? And has it been spread from there?
Deputy Director Wade Lebecki says he hasn't seen any data to prove school sports are to blame for the spread, instead pointing to other social events like team meals and get-togethers. Still, masks are encouraged, but players on the field don't have to wear them.
Right now, we're following what we do have, and we don't have anything that is telling us that we need to change.
The original coronavirus didn't affect kids as much, but this UK variant is proving to be more serious, but still it presents itself like a cold. So things you should watch out for: that's still runny nose, a cough, a sore throat, a fever, diarrhea, or vomiting. If you're seeing any of that in your kids, you should talk to your doctor.
Amanda, thank you. Governor Evers says Wisconsin schools will receive more than $175 million in federal funding to pay for school-based COVID-19 testing for teachers, students, and staff. That money coming to Wisconsin is part of the $10 billion the U.S. Department of Health Services announced back in March that it was targeting to help schools reopen across the country. Those tests would be voluntary. Concerns about new variants more easily infecting people under 16 who are not yet eligible for the vaccines have increased as case counts have gone up. In Wisconsin, just over 16% of all confirmed positive cases have been among people 19 or younger.
Over 22,000 Wisconsinites received a COVID vaccine within the last 24 hours, as over 800 new cases of the virus have been reported. Over 28% of eligible Wisconsinites have completed the vaccine series in Wisconsin. That's over 1.6 million residents. Over 2/5 of Wisconsinites have had at least one dose. And over 200,000 Dane County residents have now completed their vaccine series. That's just over 36% of the eligible population. Nearly 295,000 residents have received at least one dose.
Time now for a look at your first one forecast. Gary, a couple flakes out there today, but I have family, down in Indiana. They aren't liking this day very much.
No, they're actually getting the worst of it. There's more snow down there than there is up here. As you can see on high-resolution Doppler radar, you really have to look hard to see maybe a flurry or two of snow or a sprinkle of rain mixed in there. Temperatures are in the lower 40s, so nothing will really stick to the ground. But farther to the south and east across Indiana, it has been snowing there pretty steadily, with a couple of inches of snow down in some spots. But again, we're on the backside of the system, so just a few sprinkles or flurries. Frost or freeze warnings in effect overnight for northern Illinois, southern Iowa, and they extend now all the way back into Texas. Freeze watches again for the Texas Panhandle, and then also to the east now. We're seeing freeze watches into much of eastern Kentucky and Tennessee, southeastern Ohio, and into West Virginia. That area right now seeing temperatures still in the 60s, but eventually those temperatures will drop off pretty quickly. And there still are winter weather advisories for parts of Missouri, northeastern Indiana, and into northern Ohio for that accumulating snow. On Weather Track, you can see that a more steady area of snow has stayed to our south. We've just had a few sprinkles and flurries, and we're going to see one more day of clouds. The jet stream still coming in from the north, and notice it's in a counterclockwise circulation. So what that means is we still have a lot of instability aloft, and that'll probably generate some more clouds tomorrow, even though those clouds will break up somewhat tonight and allow temperatures to drop off into the 20s. But you can see the difference in temperatures. Here's that front just crossing over the Ohio River. Most of the Midwest right now is pretty cool, but on the other side of that front, notice those temperatures. Even in the areas that are under freeze warnings for tonight, Charleston, West Virginia at 73, even Cincinnati near 60 degrees, but that sharply colder air. Notice the quick drop off in temperatures from near 60 in Cincinnati to the mid-30s in Indianapolis. That's just about 100 miles or so, so a big temperature drop off there. Across our part of the Midwest, those clouds breaking up somewhat tonight. That will allow temperatures to drop off into the middle to upper 20s. Tomorrow, those clouds kind of generate again. We'll see perhaps a sprinkle or two of rain in the afternoon and early evening, and then tomorrow night, those skies clear out. Those temperatures drop off into the upper 20s. We'll see more sunshine for Thursday, and that will allow temperatures to get back into the middle 50s. So for tomorrow, look for a high of 45, very similar to today. Just a slight chance for a shower in the afternoon or evening. Couldn't even rule out a flurry or two in a spot or two, but mid-50s expected on Thursday with sunny skies. Slight chance for a shower Friday afternoon into Saturday. Taking the shower chances out for Sunday night, so mid-50s on Sunday, but now mid-60s expected on Monday and lower 70s on Tuesday. That's ahead of a storm system. Will bring showers and thunderstorms from Tuesday night into Wednesday. Showers, perhaps an isolated thunderstorm Thursday morning, and then showers and a little cooler for the end of next week. As we check out first warn traffic, well, right now the Beltline just seeing a few minor delays, and most of those have cleared up. The last lingering one here is near Verona Road on the eastbound side of the Beltline, so travel pretty much near the normal times. 18 minutes in the eastbound direction, 15 minutes in the westbound direction between University Avenue and I-3990. Heading from Madison southward on I-3990 to Janesville will take you 25 minutes. Middleton to Sauk City on US 12 is a 16-minute trip, and downtown to Sun Prairie on East Washington Avenue and US 151, also 16 minutes. That's your News 3 Now First Warn traffic.
Gary, thank you. Ahead at 5, Democrats say that electric car owners are being punished with registration fees. What changes they want to see in a newly proposed bill? It's ahead at 5.
News 3 Now First Warn Weather is brought to you by Lazy Boy Home Furnishings and Decor.
Discover a shopping and design experience as comfortable as the furniture. Lazy Boy Home Furnishings and Decor. Schedule your free design consultation today.
General Heating and Air Conditioning. Our large fleet of service vehicles are nearby, and our mobile fabrication shops allow us to save you time and money. When your home comfort system needs servicing or replacing, turn to the experts at Carrier and General Heating and Air Conditioning.
Erectile dysfunction for men of all ages has become much more common. In fact, most men don't realize that 90% of erectile dysfunction is a direct result of broken down old blood vessels. This causes a lack of blood flow that is critical when achieving an erection. With our state-of-the-art technology, we're able to stimulate new stem cell growth right in our office with no pills, no needles, no surgery, and no pain.
To book your consultation and get back to natural functionability, call Peak Performance for Men today.
Chevy is America's fastest growing full-line brand. That's why people are taking it everywhere. Taking SUVs like Trailblazer outdoors, confidently taking on new places with Equinox, and taking on more with the most capable Silverado ever. No matter what you do, there's a Chevy that's perfect to take you anywhere. Find your perfect Chevy and get a $4,400 cash allowance on all 2021 Silverado Crew Cab pickups. Chevrolet, the #1 selling brand in Wisconsin.
When it comes to your financial health, just a few small steps can make a real difference.
And spend with guidance from Chase. Confidence feels good. Chase, make more of what's yours.
There's been much debate about the Mona Lisa smile. Would it have been bigger and brighter if she'd had good dental care? Maybe if Physicians Mutual Insurance Company had been around back then, it'd be a different story. She could have gone to the dentist more, knowing she'd have help paying the bills. And those regular checkups might have found early signs of tooth decay or gum disease, costly problems that could keep anyone from smiling. Physicians Mutual offers affordable coverage that can help pay for cleanings and unexpected or expensive procedures you might need, like crowns or dentures. This is real dental insurance, not just a discount plan or for checkups only. There are no deductibles, and there's no annual maximum. Plus, you can see any dentist you want. Call or go online today for a free information kit from Physicians Mutual. Get the dental care you need to help you stay healthy. For your free information kit with all the details, call us now or go to sendinfokit.com.
General Heating and Air Conditioning. Our large fleet of service vehicles are nearby, and our mobile fabrication shops allow us to save you time and money. When your home comfort system needs servicing or replacing, turn to the experts at Carrier and General Heating and Air Conditioning.
You're watching News 3 Now at 5.
Right now, George Floyd's family attorney speaking after the guilty verdict of former officer Derek Chauvin. Floyd's family will speak soon. Chauvin found guilty on all 3 counts, including manslaughter in the death of George Floyd. Earlier this evening, President Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris called the Floyd family after that verdict, and they plan on delivering remarks this evening. We will continue to have the very latest from the Twin Cities and from local leaders here in Madison as well on the Chauvin verdict, right here on News 3 Now and on channel3000.com.
State Democrats are proposing legislation that would eliminate fees for people who own hybrid and electric vehicles in Wisconsin. The proposed bill would end the $100 and $75 fees applied to the annual registrations for the roughly 81,000 electric and gas electric hybrid vehicles on Wisconsin roads. Instead, a $5 fee would be assessed on registrations for vehicles weighing at least 3,000 pounds.
Is revenue neutral, so it would raise, according to 2019 registration figures, this would raise $7.16 million, and it would offset the loss of $6.21 million. And over three quarters of vehicle owners would not be subject to the $5 fee, and less than a quarter would.
Democrats say electric vehicle owners should not be punished with fees for trying to be economically friendly.
Final check of your first Warren forecast in just a moment. Stay with us.
Wild Easttown Honda is Wisconsin's Dealer of the Year. Save with 0% financing for up to 60 months on over 400 new Hondas at Wild Easttown Honda in Madison. It's gotta be wild.
Save today on everything to update your home with the 11% off everything. Now at Menards. Timbercrest vinyl siding is an affordable option for your home's exterior and is built to withstand the elements. Save with 11% off all Timbercrest vinyl siding. UltraDeck low-maintenance composite decking offers a wide selection of styles that gives you the look of real wood without the upkeep. Get 11% off UltraDeck and start your next project today.
Save big money at Menards.
Wisconsin is a home of workers. We know what needs to get done, and we do it. Yet, we've been hit hard, some harder than others. Our contact may be limited, but we still can lift each other up. Your local Wisconsin energy and emergency rental assistance providers are working together to keep you safely in your home. You may not ask for it, but we want you to know we're here to help.
What does it mean to fight for what's right? To us, it means helping accident victims get their lives back to normal again. Habish, and Rotier, we fight for what's right.
With iCare, you can receive up to $1,200 in over-the-counter benefits to buy brand name and generic products. Shop in-store or get the items delivered free from our catalog. Rest easy. iCare is looking out for your health needs.
Have you heard of nuts.com? It's the best kept secret of savvy snackers all over the country. Incredible nuts, dried fruits, organic snacks, and gluten-free treats. There's something for everyone to love, including free shipping with your first order.
Best pistachios ever.
Love the dried peaches.
White chocolate toffee cashews are awesome.
The holy grail of honey sesame sticks.
The quality has made me a customer for life. With so much to love and free shipping with your first order, check out nuts.com.
I want to have $1 million when I retire.
Oh, great goal.
So where do I start?
Well, first you set up automatic transfers into savings. That can add up pretty quickly.
For me, working on putting $1,000 into an emergency fund got me in a good saving habit.
Already on it.
Then put together a plan to get rid of debt and maximize your investments. You know, Summit helped me do.
Oh, that's great. I love how Summit gives people the knowledge and confidence to go after their goals. It's your money. Own it. Summit Credit Union.
Wild Easttown Honda, lease a new Civic for $189. That's $189 and absolutely zero due-it signing. Save on over 400 new Hondas at Wild Easttown Honda in Madison. It's gotta be wild.
Coming up on the CBS Evening News, the verdict is in. The jury reaches a decision in the Derek Chauvin murder trial. The reaction tonight and what it means for the nation. All of that and more right here on the CBS Evening News.
Let's go back to Gary. Final check of the forecast.
Lots of clouds out there. There's the live view from the Queen Bee Radio Skycam platform. If you look in the distance, you can see a couple of showers falling from those clouds, but they're having trouble reaching the ground. A couple of flurries, a couple of sprinkles out there, but most areas are staying dry right now. Temperatures upper 30s to the lower 40s, now 42 in Madison. By morning, we'll be down into the upper 20s. Look for skies to turn partly cloudy. The frost and freeze likely overnight. High tomorrow, 45 with an afternoon or evening shower. Sunshine on Thursday, and then temperatures warming up early next week.
More coverage from Minneapolis straight ahead on the CBS Evening News with Nora O'Donnell. We'll return in 30 minutes for News 3 Now at 6.